volume. New. New game.
Other than sunlight, which can be fatal to them, there are very few ways in which to conquer a vampire. However, various legends and reference books about these creatures of the night, as well as my own experiments, have affirmed the following. Firstly, vampires detest the smell of garlic. This preventative measure, used in a good number of regions subject to the depredation of these creatures, is omnipresent in the folklore of these aforementioned regions. Secondly, vampires cannot endure the fact that they cannot see their reflection in a mirror. This optical effect, which I feel confident I can witness, strikes them like a club with the vacuity and aberrance of their existence. Thirdly, some storytellers mention an irrational fear of running water, as well as a specific vulnerability to silver bullets. I have not been able to test and validate these theses. In fact, during the half a lifetime that I have dedicated to the research and annihilation of these creatures, I have only had as true recourse 3 weapons which have proven decisive. The crucifix foremost. Brandished with conviction, it fights off these creatures and prevents for a moment all attacks from them. Next, holy water. It serves to inflict wounds.
Come in, Professor. I am pleased to see you. Please excuse the disorder in my attire, but I haven't had the strength to attend to the housekeeping this morning.
Right, we're playing Dracula Origin. And I thought I was going to have to turn up the speech, but it seems to be alright. So we'll see what's happening. So I'll click this up here. What's going on?
But what is going on, Mina? And where is your servant?
Jenny is absent. She is with her sister. My God, I am at a loss for words. We found her poor sister yesterday, dead. An atrocious crime. Today's newspapers gives the heinous details. The police came here to break the news to Jenny. She was shocked and had to go to the police station to identify her sister. What a tragedy! She was my junior by 3 years, and now she's dead.
Oh,
But
can her
what
voice get any
paltry
higher?
hostess I am. To what pleasure do I owe your visit? Have you received news of Jonathan?
Ah, not at the moment. I came to see if all was well. Jonathan repeatedly insisted I take care of you. I reckoned. Could I take you for a stroll in the park, perhaps?
Nothing would give me greater pleasure. I must alter my thoughts. Give me a few moments in order to ready myself.
I did not have the courage to break the sad news to her, but it must be done sooner or later. What could have happened to this poor young girl? Mina told me that it was mentioned in the papers.
Ooh. Right. Is it my go now? The Daily Big Mirror. A bloody settling of scores between prostitutes. Yesterday evening, shortly after 10 p.m, the lifeless corpse of the lovely Sarah McAllister, 19, was found lying under a porte cochere at the intersection of the Tottenham Court Road and Euston Road. She is undoubtedly the latest victim of the frequent brawls between prostitutes who back down at nothing to defend a more lucrative workplace or to displace a rival whose physique is more in demand. According to a number of her workmates who preferred to remain anonymous, the beautiful Sarah didn't have time to get down to business on her first night before her career was finished for good. The local constabulary, ordinarily of a slothfulness without equal, but for their inefficiency in solving this type of case, nonetheless have built a strong case which will permit them, as is the case once per century, to rapidly arrest the person responsible for this crime. Domestic drama. News Times. Domestic drama. A sad and bloody business took place yesterday on the first floor of a small residential building located next to the New Kent Road station. From interviews with the neighbours, young Garrett Melford first killed his young wife, Magdalene, in a fit of jealousy before dying himself. The young married couple had moved in only 2 months ago, and Mr. Melford was employed as a foreman at Grimble and Bromsby Cement Works. Various testimony confirms that early in the evening, in the absence of her husband, Mrs. Melford admitted an elegant man dressed in black into their flat. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Melford returned to the domicile after a long day at work. As soon as he entered the flat, an eerie and colossal black bird flew out of one of the windows in the direction of the National Gallery. A cry could be heard, as well as the sounds of a struggle, and finally a gunshot. After an alarming silence, some of the neighbours entered into the flat, only to find Mrs. Melford stretched out lifelessly on the bed. With a bleeding wound to the neck. Mr. Melford was sitting on a chair, his skull agape, and a still smoking pistol at his feet. A small crowd gathered around the place, which most certainly allowed the third player in this drama the opportunity to abscond. Upon the arrival of the police, they concluded that it was a murder of passion followed by a suicide, even though the exact unfolding of the events, as well as the identity of the lady's nocturnal visitor, are still unknown. Note, the testimonials taken at the crime scene are very troubling, particularly in regard to this eerie and colossal black bird. See last Tuesday's edition for our report in an equally unnerving event. I've got a letter here. Dear Professor, it's a strange manner in which to commence a letter, but I hope that you shall never have to read these words. For if that is the case, it is because a grievous destiny, worse than even death perhaps, has put an end to my existence. Know that at the time in which I write these lines, I find myself at the very heart of evil in one of the rooms of Count Dracula's castle. This missive would take many weeks to reach you, more time than my return trip to London, which I will make if I am able to carry through my terrible task. This letter would thus have no relevance. Hence, if you are reading this, pray for my soul. Finding the beast's lair was no simple task. The Count's subordinates are everywhere east of Vienna, and they maintain a veil of secrecy and terror regarding the very existence of our enemy. With false persuasion, threats, and silver pieces, I managed to find the approximate location of the Count's grounds. Hang on, what have I done? Of the Count's grounds, right. During my trip to this accursed place, chance placed a young scholar whose team had been attacked by bandits in my path. Grave wounds had forced him to take rest at an inn before he could resume his journey to Count Dracula's dwelling, where he was supposed to take inventory of the library. I appropriated the young man's letter of introduction and extracted from him the necessary pieces of information to get into the castle. I arrived on the night of the second day at an immense fortress seeping with death and corruption, where the origin of the evil that we're fighting is found. My first meeting with the Count left in me a memory that will haunt me to the end of my days. How to imagine such nobility, charm, and benevolence in the behaviours of a man who, only by his icy, demented look, betrays his true nature? I was just as subjugated by his elegance as his intelligence. Upon my nocturnal arrival with his discussed at length my alleged library experience, he immediately noted my accent and asked questions that were both precise and direct. I was the mouse attempting to answer to the cat, and despite myself I gave away my identity as well as my London heritage. He seemed to read into each of my answers, and it was the devil of a task to mutter an explanation of my presence here as the delegate from a large Viennese library. He then interrogated me regarding London and England, and seemed genuinely impassioned to hear about life in our capital. I then had the misfortune of mentioning Mina, my dear betrothed, while recalling an afternoon spent boating. The Count pressed me in an almost impertinent manner to show me a photograph to show me a photograph of her. I complied, and was then struck with an infinite terror by the Count's rapacious and cadaverous gaze as he examined the face of my loved one grasped between his hands. I feigned a very believable fatigue and isolated myself to my quarters. Sleep did not find me that night, nor any of the following nights. Terrifying abnormal noises mixed with the howling of the wolves that swarmed the region. The Count has been absent for 3 days, but his abominable servant assures me he is to return tonight. I will wait no longer to spring into action. This immense place oppresses me, and it seems that the shadows themselves are alive, observing me and tormenting me with their laughter. I miss Mina so much that I wouldn't give to be by her side. I don't dare write her. She wouldn't understand the dangers that my mission involves. Ensure Mina once again of my complete devotion to her, and if you receive this letter, ensure her that she knows my last thoughts were of her. Your student and friend, Jonathan Harker. How do we get out of this? How do we get out?
Damnation! This cannot be a coincidence. Harker's letter spoke of his host's interest in London. I must get to the bottom of this.
Right. Should we go through what... can't look at anything in here? Oh, some flowers there.
Beautiful roses.
Okay, can't take one. What's this? A courier. Oh, another newspaper. The bloodless corpse of a chambermaid found near the banks of the Thames, 2 youths residing near the cursed Mermaid pub, located near the warehouses at Southwark Bridge, made a macabre discovery yesterday while they were playing in the lane. The pale, bloodless corpse of young Carlotta Perry, 23, was lying behind a stack of wooden crates. The woman was fully clothed, and based on the first official report, her death is due to precise incisions in the neck, which caused her blood to drain. A curious point is the almost complete absence of blood on the ground near the corpse. On the other hand, a few local trollops seem to be led directly towards a wall located on the banks of the Thames, and the proprietor, who has been assisting the police in their investigations, confirms having seen them continue to the roof in the same direction, that is towards the Tate Gallery. The Tate Art Gallery. The precise circumstances and, more important, the motivations of such a barbaric act are still unknown. The victim, an exemplary servant, had excellent reputation and led a life without incident.
Vampires possess numerous powers, such as uncommon physical capabilities and the ability to transform into bats.
Okay, so that would be the big black bird then.
I have no interest in going that way.
You sound like the vampire.
It seems that I have not inspected everything.
Oh. Okie dokie. But didn't we read the papers?
This pile of newspapers must have belonged to Harker. He kept them to help him in his hunt. Perhaps
Oh.
I will find the article to which the News Times made reference today.
Right.
No, it is not that. Try again. Useless. These articles surely contain some clues which will permit me to discover where the perpetrator of these wrongdoings has taken refuge.
A faithful parishioner escapes the claws of a demon. A faithful parishioner escapes the claws of a demon. Last night, a prudent and devout young lady, Miss Ethel Basingstoke, narrowly escaped the assaults of lunatic, or rather a demon from hell, in her own words. Miss Basingstoke, 21, who is to be married next month, was exiting St George's Church, where she mends clothing for the poor, when she was assailed by a satyr dressed in black with flaming red eyes and possessing the strength of 10 men. Miss Basingstoke explained that the man forced her to cleave herself to him, crushing her to the point of suffocation, his titanic strength rendering all resistance futile. Her last act before such a dishonourable death, she said, was to bring her hand up to her cross hanging from her necklace and to say a prayer. The man became furious and screamed words in an infernal language, and his intending victim sank to the ground before fainting. Miss Basingstoke swears to have seen her assailant change into a winged demon who escaped with an uproar in the direction of Victoria Station. A lot of reading in the first few minutes. Hopefully it's not going to be too much all the way through.
It seems that I have not inspected everything.
What?
It is a photograph of Harker. Mina is very much in love with him.
Ah, very nice. Can we go now?
It seems that I have not
What?
inspected everything.
Oh no, you
I
don't want
have
to go
no
that way.
interest in going that way.
No. You want a cup of tea? No, you don't want a cup of tea. No, I was pointing to the cup of tea. Oh, never mind. Ah, we can go this way. Oh, what's behind here?
Harker's map of London, quite detailed. These articles surely contain some clues which will permit me to discover where the perpetrator of these wrongdoings has taken refuge.
Ah, well. Yeah. Hang on a minute. We're looking for, oh, there's the National Gallery. Wait, yeah. Can I take the pen? No, there's Tate. It's not Tate. Oh, yeah. Right, okay. Is that it? No?
Beautiful roses.
Yeah. Can we go now? I don't think you can take the map with you.
It seems that I have not inspected everything.
Right, okay.